Hello everybody. Today I would like to talk to you about organizing your movies and putting them on a shelf so everybody can see them and be super duper impressed. So before being able to do this, you're going to need three things: a shelf, some movies, and absolutely no respect for your money. As you can see, I have all three of them. The next step of this process requires you to ask yourself a rather personal question. How is it that you want to present these movies to the world? There's about two main ways, and I think one is better than the other, but obviously it's up for you to decide. You can A, stack your movies vertically on the shelf, or B, rest your movies horizontally on the shelf. I prefer this way, so it'll be what is most prominently shown today. After this basic step, you now have to really look at your collection. What different kind of movies do you have? No, this is not a question of genre, but a question of format. Take my collection here as an example. I have DVDs, I have Blu-rays, I have 4Ks, I have some box sets, and I have too many Criterions. I also have one Steelbook. The way I've always approached the problem of having all these different formats is by separating each into their own group. You can put DVDs with DVDs, Blu-rays with Blu-rays, and etc. We come into a slight problem with the Steelbook as it is by itself. There are one or two things you can do about it. Leave it out completely, or put it with something of a similar size. I tend to place it with my Blu-rays. Since we now have all the movies sorted into their different formats, we have to ask a big question. How do we want them organized? Obviously, if you were some sort of lunatic, you could say, who cares, and throw all the movies onto the shelf and call it a day. But you're much classier, I know you are. So maybe you want to organize them by year, or you could go by alphabetical order. You could really get specific and alphabetize by the last name of the director, and then go by year in each director group you have. Now when it comes to your Criterion collection, you should keep in mind the spine numbers because you could organize the Criterions by these. I usually sort my DVDs and Blu-rays in alphabetical order, but then my Criterions are by spine number. And sometimes, when approaching box sets, I do them by size. Once you've decided how you want your movies to be sorted, do it, preparing each film for its trip onto the shelf. And finally, now that everything's organized and prepared, we can start placing the movies onto the shelf. Since you've done all of the planning, this should go really smoothly. Sometimes you may experience a lack of shelf space. If so, you should either place the movies behind or exclude them completely if you cannot do that. You can include some vertical stacking if needed, and after all of this, you should have something that looks like this. Now that I've given you all the steps, go out, make your own collections, put your own spin on them. Thank you and good night.